What's up, everybody? I'm back with another tool deals video, and today I'm going to be comparing this Flir TG267 thermal camera to this TopDon TC001 thermal imaging camera. Now, it's pretty obvious what the difference between these two are. This is a whole handheld system, whereas this is a system that's compatible with Android devices. You plug it into the USB-C port, and then your screen pops up on your phone. Now, these two have very similar specs. And I was thinking about comparing apples to apples, handheld versus handheld, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to see how these smaller, more portable units that can plug into any phone pair up against these handheld units, because honestly, I like the idea of this, but I just feel like a dedicated unit might work better, but we'll see. Like I said, these two have very similar specs. Now, the difference between the two, though, is this is pretty much, this is half the price of this. It might even be more than half off what this is. So this is about $500, and this is around $250, but I'm pretty sure I could finagle a discount code on this thing. Now, TopDon did send me this one. I purchased the Flir with my own money just to have something to compare this to, because again, I personally think that this might perform better. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open up these boxes, see what's inside, and get to testing. All right, so inside the Flir box, we have first the Flir holder, which is nice, and it's not sturdy, but it's thick padding. That's what I call it, with quite a few hooks for this shoulder strap here. All right, so you click down that side, click down that side. You can carry this on your shoulder. You have the unit itself. You then have its charger, USB-C. Then you have a wrist strap. And then you have this interesting cable right here. This is your thermocouple, and this plugs into the top of the unit right here, and that type K right there. Then of course you have the USB-C for charging. All right, and with the TopDon, unfortunately, I'm missing two other accessories. It comes with a very nice blue microfiber cloth for keeping your lens here clear and clean, also the screen on your phone, and then it also comes with a cable that is quite unique that'll allow you to connect this to a computer. So you will plug that into this and then plug one into the computer, and then you'll be able to see things that way as well. All right, so right now we're going to compare both the TC001, the TopDon, to the Flir. And this is a pitch black bathroom right here. This is the laundry room. There are no lights on. It's pitch black. And we're going to come in here and we're going to see this wall is actually on the side of the house. So we see some little cool spots. But for the edge of the side of the house, that's normal. I mean, you can actually see almost the ripples of the insulation within the beams right there. So that's cool. All right, so here's the thing. All right, that's my bidet. That's a heated seat there. We can see the water tank for the toilet. It's full of water. What else? The heat is on. All right, so the sink is where I'm having some little issues. Now, I think I just have my hand here. I don't know why the edge of that is warm, but that is warm. Okay, so inside the sink, I may have washed my hands earlier and got that wet, so that's still some water there. And here's what the deal. I do have a leak, and I left the leak here so that you guys could kind of see how this is good at detecting water leaks. So we can see that there's the water in the P-trap. We see the shutoff valves. Interestingly enough, the shutoff valve on the right, which is for the cold water, the valve itself is not cold, but over here on the hot side, that valve is cold. But if we see, take a look at the water line right there, it's perfectly fine. But we take a look at the water line here, and we see it's a little cold there. And up there, I do have a leak. And that's what this thing is good for, troubleshooting. And that is, again, trying to find exactly where your leak is coming from, because at first I couldn't figure it out. And that is actually why I got the Flir in the first place, to help me figure out exactly where the leak was coming from. So that's actually coming from, it looks like, the connection from the water line to the actual handle there. So maybe I might need to just get a new line, because that thing is super old. So that should hopefully resolve my leak. And you see my little bucket here of water that has drip. Now let's also now do the same thing with the light on and see how well this is able to translate everything once again. Now it looks pretty much similar. It's actually, you can see more of the reflection from the faucet. I would say this is a tad bit pixelated, but then some things are showing up a little better. Almost like the Flir, in the sense that it's kind of overlaying an image, overlaying the picture. Now let's go ahead and get the Flir and see how that looks. All right, so this is the bathroom and this is the laundry room. It's dark. I mean, you do have the light from the rest of the house going in there, but for the most part, it's dark. Let's go ahead and use the Flir. All right, so the screen is slightly smaller, but we see it's a slight delay, and that is one thing about the Flir. For it to cost so much more money, there's a delay in scanning the area. It's a little jerky. Like what you're seeing is not the video. It's actually just the jerkiness of the display on the Flir. So this is not that hot anymore. You see it's a lot less detail in the picture than on the TopDon. And we still see the cold spot moving up. There is a delay. All right, so we also see the water tank. We see the heated seat. All right, so let's go over here to the sink. Now this is one of the benefits of the Flir. Has this image overlay. So even in the dark, you could see the faucet. This is how it looked on the TopDon with the light on. But as for the color of the sink, you can see there's cold spots, but they're not as detailed as the TopDon, which is actually quite surprising. Now let's go underneath the sink, and we can see that there's something going on. Did you just hear the drip? Here, it almost looks like it's leaking. I don't even know what that looks like, but let's see how that looks. Ah, there we go. Now that's really lit up. We also see there's a little warmer spot right there. I'm not sure what that is. You can't, having a hard time making anything else out. Now the Flir also has a light, but we can definitely see the leak there. Now this does have a light. It has some extra little gadgets. And then if we go to our settings, we can go and turn the light on. We can see that makes a tremendous difference. Now we can actually see the bowl itself. We can actually see all the plumbing work, because that overlay is there. Before, we couldn't even see the hot water line. All right, so this does have that trick up its sleeve, and it's still going to be able to see and identify the leak. But the TopDon did really well to not have any light at all. So let's go ahead and turn this light off, and then we'll come back in here with the light on, and we'll see how it performs. All right, now we have the light on, and as you can see, the Flir likes that a lot better. Even though it's still a delay, it likes that a lot better. See more detail and everything. You can see the outline of the tile. More detail on the toilet. Now we'll see a little more detail on the sink. It's still a little muddy, trying to identify where the water spots are, but you can definitely see the water there. And then let's go back under here, which we kind of already did this. So there you have it for finding a real life leak in my house. All right, now we're at another location here. We're going to check for any inefficiencies in the insulation in the property. So we're going around. I do want to highlight the difference drapes make. So as you can see, this is the wall. You can see the studs in the wall. You can see the temperature of the walls, roughly 67 degrees. And now when we go, this is a window. We see the window is emitting some air that is 56 degrees. So 56 versus your 67. So that's an 11-degree difference. Let's go ahead and close that curtain and see the difference that makes. All right, so I just closed the curtain literally seconds ago. And now look at the temperature, 67.5 degrees, 0.4. Let's go back to the wall, 67 flat. Now that's really interesting because these drapes, as you can see, they're nothing really fancy. They're not blackout shades or anything like that, but that is a humongous difference. And that's a huge difference it can make in your electric bill or gas bill. Now we're just going to go through and look at another spot that I saw in the house. And we're going to just kind of walk through so you can see how quickly the Flir updates. Here's the front door, actually insulated pretty well. Now in the room that I was just in, as you can see, it was well lit, but from the background, you can see from the phone, it's not as bright. So we'll compare that, remember that, in terms of the Flir versus the TopDon. So we see low 50s around the edge on the bottom there. And you can fix that with some weather strips and things of that nature right there. Right now it's like a little sweeper on there. You can't really see because it's dark, but they can get some weather stripping for that door. Now coming downstairs, we can see there are a couple cold spots on the wall. So let's go down a little further. Now the first weird spot is right here at the top of the stairs. You see the wall is fine, 62, 63 degrees roughly, until you get to that spot. And it drops almost 10 degrees. And even if you put your hand on it, that thing is very cold to the touch. A few days ago, there was some temperatures below zero, and this felt like ice. So it's kind of interesting because there's nothing visibly there that could be causing an issue. And the point is exactly right here. So what we're going to do in the future is try to paint that with some thermal paint and see if that makes a difference. And we're going to continue on down the stairs and we'll see that there's another, I was going to say hot spot, but really cold spot. So if we look at the wall is 60, it peaked at 67, that was weird, 62 degrees. And if we go down to this blue area here, low 50s, mid 50s, 49. So it's very cool right there. And if we look, if you look really closely, you can see that there is some carpet missing slightly from this area. So there's no insulation right there. So what we're going to do is very easily just take a little area rug right up against that, and we'll see if that makes a difference. All right, now, as you can see, we're using the TopDon on the Android phone. And one thing I like about the TopDon is that it's going to give you 3 different temperatures. It's going to give you the center point, which you're pointed at, and then it's going to give you the warmest, which is represented by a red dot, which is up in the upper right-hand corner, which keeps dropping. It's 93, probably because there's a vent over there. But then the coldest point, which is 55, which is the window. So as we can see again, it's a huge difference between the window versus the wall. So let's go ahead and close this curtain so you guys can see real time the difference that makes. You can see my hand touching the thing. So there you go. Now it's 67, 68 versus the wall, which is 67.5. Basically the same thing. So let's go ahead and open this back up. Get some light in here. And I want you to pay attention to how this is doing in a well-lit area. Now we're going to approach an area that's not as well lit. One thing I would say, this compared to the Flir, this refreshes way fast. I have a lot more lag with the Flir. But let's go ahead and let's point it down the bottom here. I can't remember what the Flir said, but it did say it was like low to mid 50s, I believe, on the bottom of that door. But to me, the images show better on the TopDon in low light. We're going to go down. Okay, even going down the stairs. All right, so we have a much better view. You can see that cold spot there really clearly. Going down the stairs, and then you can even see the cold spot down there, and you can see on the screen it's picking that up. Now that little red dot is where the panel is. So the electrical panel is there, and that's showing heat of 72 degrees, and it's showing that cold spot in the bottom corner of the stairs at 55, and then the wall, which some pointed 65, which is about what the Flir was saying roughly. But I like this. This is way more intuitive. Now let's go ahead and see if we can solve this problem really quick, 50 degrees, by tucking this into that. All right, now you can see it's less blue, and even on screen it's still showing 50 in that corner, but along the edge here, when we follow the center spot, it's slightly warmer. And now we're just putting the area rug up against the wall, tucking it into the corners. What you really want to do is get some foam, stick it down there. There's a little piece of insulation, and that'll fix that. And this is important because this is where the thermostat is. Hard to see, but this is the thermostat. And if you have cold air coming up, interfering with the thermostat's thermometer, this will run more, raising your gas and your electric bill. All right, so which do I recommend? I'm very disappointed in the Flir. For the money, I can't believe it gets beat out in any area by the TopDon, which is literally half the price. This is $500. This is $250. This is on sale for $450 right now, and this is on sale for $229. Half price. This is not twice as better, so I would not spend twice the money. This does have a thermocouple, but it doesn't work that well. I didn't show you guys that. Just look up some other YouTube videos. It really wasn't worth it. I know I wasn't going to recommend this when I saw this outperforming in low light. Now, granted, you can overcome the low light situation with the Flir by turning on the flashlight that this has built in. But for $500, this is not worth it to me. It does have the excellent image overlay. But again, you know, well, in well-lit areas, again, the flashlight, everything would be well-lit. It does have that. I'm not fond of the little baby screen. This being able to be plugged into any Android device, even a tablet. Now, if you plug into the tablet, the image does become pixelated, a little more distorted because the image is so big. But plugging this into a regular cell phone, that's going to win all day. You can see things much more clearly. What else? You got to charge this up. See, this is standalone. You can plug it into any charged phone and you're good to go. So yeah, you got to charge this up. The battery life is pretty good on it though, but you got to do that. You got to make sure you bring a whole lot with you. This comes in a little small case. It's a lot more portable. You always have your cell phone on you. So I just prefer that. I think it's a better value overall. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. There will be links to both of these in the description. As far as build quality goes, I think I mentioned it earlier in the video, the Flir is far superior in terms of build quality. I'm trying to figure out if this is metal or plastic. It feels like some light aluminum on the outsides, and this is maybe plastic on the sides. I don't know, but it's super lightweight. It doesn't even weigh a pound. This is maybe like 2 pounds. But it still feels really good in your hand, though, that trigger action. So also, the refresh rate is slow on this. The refresh rate is great on this. And I was using this on a 4-year-old Android. It has Bluetooth, but it's pitiful. All it does is just transfer. You take pictures, boom, with it, and you can transfer it to your phone. That's it. This is already on your phone. So everything is already nicely and easily integrated. And this is kind of slow. So yeah, anyway, this is not worth double the money to me. If this was like $300, maybe $299 and this is $250, or this is $199 and this is $299, I think that's a stronger argument. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think in the comments. See you guys next time.